Welcome back to the Man to Man podcast. So in the last few episodes, I've talked about kind of hitting rock bottom, physically, mentally, emotionally. Today I want to talk about what comes next, how to build that inner strength during difficult times when you really don't feel like doing anything, when you're kind of at your rock bottom. Not gym strength, not fake it strength. I'm talking about the kind of strength that keeps you standing tall, I guess, when everything else is falling apart. So, let's get into it. You might have heard on the previous episodes, but you might not have. So let me be honest about where I'm at personally right now. I certainly don't feel strong. I feel somewhat shaken and broken. My health is very fragile. Issues with my heart, weight. Aftermath of generally mistreating your body, I guess, for a long, long time. My money situation's tight. My relationships need work. But I'm not here to dwell. And I'm still here. Still showing up. Still speaking. And that's something. Some days I feel like crumbling. Other days I just freeze. But I'm still choosing to keep walking one step at a time. One step at a time. And I guess that's what, to me anyway, inner strength looks like. And that's showing up despite how I feel. I've not... Like last night, for example, I was panicking, good way of looking at it, about my heart. So it was elevated, I guess. Blood pressure was kind of skyrocketing, as it does sometimes. So that made me anxious. So I gathered my breath, calmed myself down, went for a walk, came back, did some breath work, and then rejoined the gym. I used to love going to the gym, but I haven't been for a while. Too long. Taking actions. Minor. To me, they're like mountains. But to others, they might seem like little effort, I guess. But we're all at different levels. And I'm here to be proud of that. I'm here to make that progress daily. One step on day one, 2 steps on day 2, 3 steps on day 3, and building it up, and building up that momentum. And like I said, showing up despite how I feel. And that's not to say I'll have some relaxing days, because where my body is at, I'll definitely need it. But there's a difference between listening to your body when it needs to rest, or just sitting on your arse because you can't be arsed. That's not showing up despite how you feel. It's not about pretending things are fine. It's not about powering through without emotions. It's about being honest with yourself and telling yourself the truth and choosing action anyway. It's fine to say, look, this is my situation now. This is where I'm at. It's not an ideal situation. It's not the best situation. But it's the one I'm at now. So let's deal with it. Don't give in to the easier option of giving up. Trust me, I know all about that. Refocus. Remember who it is you want to become. And not losing sight. It's 8:30 a.m. here, where I'm at now. Walked into the office. Very nearly just sat down and went at my phone. Now we all know where that leads. 10 minutes becomes 30, 30 becomes an hour becomes 3, and before you know it, the day's gone. But I had a bit of a chat to myself. I'm here now doing this podcast, or this recording, or however you want to call it. It's not like you're not going to have thoughts that taper you away from progress. But then you've got to have those thoughts to gear yourself back on the right path. It was a big one for me. So when I'd forsaken the morning or ruined it, and I say ruined it by wasting it, essentially, or by 12 o'clock I'd not done half of the things that I'd set out, I'd write off the rest of the day. I'd be like, well, I'll do it tomorrow. Rather than try and claw things back and end the day on a positive. I used to, well, I've wasted the morning, might as well just waste the rest of the day. And it's about having those sometimes difficult conversations with yourself. Trying to find the win, trying to find the positive, trying to look at what you've got available in front of you and making the most out of it. So on those days where I had wasted half the day, rather than having that honest conversation with myself and saying, look, you've fucked things up, you've wasted the morning, but you've got a few hours there that you can utilise. Let's get this done and let's make some progress. And then doing it, rather than going down the pity party, the self-pity party, and then writing off the rest of the day. We're all at different levels. We're all at different stages. But we can all utilise what we have in front of us. And I think that's what personal strength is. Inner strength, however you want to say. Looking at what you've got available. Not giving in to those times of procrastination, which is essentially avoidance. Saying, look, this is the situation we're in. This is what we've got to deal with it. This is what we have available in front of us. Let's fucking go. One of the key things we have as men is our word. And I think every man knows that, regardless of who he is. Because I think a lot of the times when you do feel depressed or you do feel worthless or that spiral of self-hatred, I guess, I think a lot of the time it's going against your own word, not having the belief in your own, that what you say counts. Because you'll promise yourself something, you'll say, you're going to do this. And then within 2 minutes, realistically, you're doing the exact opposite. You're not doing what you said you was going to do for yourself. And over time, that becomes a belief. If you're going to make promises to yourself, keep them. And that's why it's important that if you are, no matter where you're at, make ones that you can keep. It might be small ones, it might be huge ones, depending on where you're at. But start small. Tiny little plans here and there. I am going to do this today. Or if you're planning for the next day, I'm going to do this tomorrow. And don't overcomplicate it. Don't put so much on your list that when you see it, you just get so overwhelmed. And no wonder you keep not keeping your word. Get out of bed. Maybe go for a walk. Make a list, but don't. You can have a list. Here's another thing as well. When you're making lists, it's okay to write a load of things down that you need to do. But that should be a separate list from what can I do tomorrow? What is in my capacity tomorrow? Sure, it can push you. Sure, it can be big things. But if you've got the capacity to do one big thing tomorrow, and then you put a month's work to finish before 11 a.m., which we can all do from time to time, especially when you're starting out, you get a bit excited, or you get a bit panicky. This needs to be done, this needs to be done. And it becomes more of an inability to time manage, essentially. But you put all these things down, and rather than just compartmentalize them and say, right, this needs to be done by then, this needs to be done by then, this needs to be done by then. In order to do them first, I need to do this first. Proper planning. And say, right, I can do that on that day, I can do that on that day. Instead, what a lot of people do is they make this big list of a month's work in a day. And then they wake up, get overwhelmed. And then, of course, you're not going to achieve what you wanted to achieve. You're most likely to procrastinate because you're so overwhelmed. And then you broke your promise to yourself again. And that becomes a cycle. And these big ideas that you had, that you could execute on, instead become a trail of not done, not done, not done. Some other things, I'm trying to slow down my thoughts, catching myself when the spiral starts. And like I said, take a deep breath. Sit with the pain, not running from it. That can be difficult, I know that. But just sit with it. Don't pick up your phone. Don't try to hide from it. Because that, in turn, what makes you wallow in it, because you'll get into bed later in the day, in the evening. Then you're with all those thoughts. Because you didn't sit there with it. You ran from it. Take the time. Strong, stable, present. If you yourself are in a tough place and don't feel strong, let's look at some of the things that you can do. So you don't have to feel strong to be strong. That is something that comes over time. It's not an overnight thing. And it's certainly not a guaranteed thing either. We're all human. Some of the people at the top of their echelon, you will not believe just how many struggles they have. Because people are people. But they built up habits that make them successful. Inner strength is it's built in the middle of mess. Not when it's over. It's looking at the chaos and organising it into sections that can be dealt with. Every time you choose not to quit, you've built that muscle in your head. Every time you don't procrastinate, you built that muscle in your head. It's another rep, another rep, another rep. You don't need to get perfect. It's all about just staying in the fight. Staying in the fight. Taking one more swing. Now, I don't know about you, but I've certainly survived worse than this. And you'll build from it if you keep going. And with that, thanks for listening. As I say, I'm still building. Still broken in some ways, but also getting stronger every day. Chipping away at things. Making progress day by day by day. And every day is not going to be the best. Every day is not going to be the greatest. But progress is progress. Don't ever. Always take pride in that. And as men, I think that sometimes we struggle with. So set out to do things. Keep your word to yourself. And then look back at the end of each day and look back with some pride. Because you've earned it. Thanks for listening.